Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. You're watching The Big Picture with me, Frank Razam Pereira. Well, the Andhra Pradesh government on Thursday appealed to people of Visakhapatnam not to panic and cooperate with the authorities working to bring under control the situation following a gas leak from a chemical plant there. A major leak from a polymer plant, LG Polymers, near Visakhapatnam impacted villages in a 5-kilometer radius, leaving at least 9 people dead and thousands of citizens suffering from breathlessness and other problems in an early morning mishap that raised fears of a serious industrial disaster. On this edition of The Big Picture, we will analyze the gas leak in Visakhapatnam. Joining me on the program today are Naveen Kumar Bhatnagar, former DIG NDRF, Shekhar Iyer, senior journalist, and Professor C.K. Varshney, former Dean, Environmental Sciences, JNU, and also environmentalist. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of The Big Picture. Professor, I'd like to begin the program with you. Let's first try and understand what the styrene gas is and how can exposure to this gas impact the lives of the people.
Well, it is like this, that the styrene is normally in the industry used for polymerization. So polythene and so on are made. A large number of insulation materials are made. And it is a material which is used for various purposes. So there were 2 tanks of 5,000 liters each. And the factory was closed for 40 days because of the lockdown. And they were in the process of starting up. And in this, somehow it appears, of course, the exact cause is not known, but it appears that there is some reaction which took place, which started heating up these tanks and the gas started leaking. Now, I will tell you a little bit about styrene. Styrene is normally has a very low boiling point, and at room temperature, it gets into vaporized. And therefore, this gas is very toxic from all points of view. Very small quantities are present in cigarette smoke. And when we really burn the light or the organic matter, and sometimes very small quantity from the tailpipes of the cars. But then the concentrations are so small, but they are even then considered as a toxic gas. And therefore, this large quantity of gas which got released, which was immediately causing a lot of problem. This is toxic. It has many disadvantages in terms of breathing problem. CNS function gets reduced and people become absolutely unconscious. It affects the eyes, it affects the nose, and it affects the animals, and particularly our cattle and so on. And they suffer from very serious damage of liver. So all these things are attributed to this kind of, normally styrene at this high level is never seen. The one thing that I would like to say, that such industrial accidents where these deadly or poisonous or toxic chemicals are used, very high precaution has to be made and has to be there as a part of the design of the industrial development. For example, I find that the villages were nearby and very high concentration of the human beings were there in terms of villages and the factory workers, and they were the immediate targets. So you see that those who were not working in the factory were the affected person. And this is a characteristic feature of all environmental accidents, that the cause and effect are very separate. Those who create a problem are different, and those who suffer are entirely different population and very unknown people and very difficult situation to really control. At present, 10 people seem to have died, and thousands of them are suffering from this problem of breathing, as well as nausea and eye problem, and hearing problem is very serious. People lose their hearing. Yes.
All right, I'll come back to you, Professor, on the long-term impacts and also what is to be done immediately, really, as far as dealing with this issue is concerned. But before that, let me bring in Mr. Bhatnagar into the picture. Mr. Bhatnagar, as far as the disaster teams and the disaster force are concerned, what is the SOP following an incident like this?
Yeah, it's a chemical and gas disaster. Whenever this type of disaster comes, immediately we are getting the information from the state government or the nearby administration, and the nearest team is there. Immediately they used to approach there on the spot, and with all equipments, since we are trained in the chemical disaster and such type of gas disasters, so we can very well handle all these things. But before that, people should know the do and don'ts, and the state government also, and the administration also, where they have unable to fetch the requirement, and they have not acted upon quickly. That is why it happened, and it was really
Okay. Mr. Bhatnagar, there seems to be a technical difficulty with your line there. Let me just come back to you. Before that, let me go across to Mr. Shekhar Iyer. I'll come back to you. I'll come back. Okay. All right, Mr. Iyer, as far as this issue of industrial development is concerned, let me take that particular issue with you forward, the issue that the professor raised in his opening remark as well. Does the incident once again raise questions on the improper maintenance of chemicals in factories?
Well, it does, because from whatever we know of the preliminary facts of this particular leak in Visakhapatnam, one, this plant has been closed due to lockdown for a long time, and attempts were being made to restart operations. And we are told that despite a maintenance team in the plant, some workers were involved in restarting it in the morning. We do not know exactly what happened, whether there were any lapses, but we definitely know that some kind of a chemical activity started, following which is similar to what we saw in the Bhopal gas tragedy. There was some kind of an internal polymerization or whatever, and the gas leaked, and it reached the nearby areas first. So therefore, and also it even affected people traveling on the highways, which was close by, and gradually it spread. But fortunately, what we understand is the leak was capped, and then a lot of people were taken to hospitals. We are getting varying figures as to how many people were being given medical aid. But we also know that NDRF was quick to the scene, including state authorities. The district administration also was quick to the act. And we saw the Prime Minister holding a meeting with the NDRF team to find out what all can be done. The Navy was put into action. The naval doctors and the other naval assistance was also ready, because we know Visakhapatnam is the headquarters for the Eastern Naval Command. So if you look at in terms of the way the authorities geared up, well, we can see that we have learned over a period of time. But definitely, the questions about which the professor mentioned does keep coming. One is our safety culture. Have we actually learned from the Bhopal gas tragedy of 1984? The second thing is what kind of safety management we have. For instance, this particular plant was set up in 1961. It was initially known as Hindustan Polymers, we are told. Subsequently, it changed hands, and finally, the South Korean company LG took over. So therefore, we do not know whether the plant design has undergone change. Was it modernized in keeping with the latest safety regulations? We do not know. But that is an important question, the safety management. When it comes to safety management, the third aspect is, which the professor also mentioned, what kind of safety designs have been adhered to, where all international practices, all good practices, were they enforced there. And the fourth thing is, I think, since 1984, a lot of lessons have been drawn in terms of how to improve safety. In fact, today the concept is zero accidents, or absolutely totally inherent safety. You do not tolerate any kind of lapse. So if this is the case, and more companies, which are in the chemical industry, have been trying to bring in this kind of measures, even as a sort of a corporate social responsibility. With all this, why did this happen? And the fifth point, which I would like to stress, is now gradually the lockdown is being lifted. There are several, industrial units that are looking forward to restarting operations. So therefore, it would require that authorities, take special steps to see that we also, look into the safety aspects when we are again restarting operations. This is very important, because a lot of the plants have remained shut. Of course, it is claimed that there are maintenance operations going on, but we do not know. I think the authorities must pay attention, all over the country, so that we avoid such kind of incidents.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring in a sixth dimension also later on. I'll take it up with you when I come back to you. That on what are the international implications, because let's not forget LG Polymers is a South Korean company, so that aspect also needs to be taken up. I'll take that up ahead in the program. But if the line is better now with Mr. Bhatnagar, I'd like to go back to him. Mr. Bhatnagar, if you can hear me, you're talking about the do's and don'ts that need to be followed in situations like this. Please go ahead.
Actually, the state government has given the proper norms, safety norms, and audits and all these things. Already it was approved with the safety department of it and the central government. Without following and going on and during.
Okay, Mr. Bhatnagar, there seems to be a technical difficulty with the line. Okay, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
And safety measures. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me take the points that you're making.
In that situation, yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me take the points that you're making forward now. All right. So,
you're
Professor,
talking to me.
Yes. No. Well, I'm coming back to you, Mr. Bhatnagar. I'm just coming back to you. I'm going to take the points that you're making forward. With with Professor Varshney. Professor Varshney, you were talking about earlier about this whole issue of how serious this particular gas is, how it affects the people, how it affects the livestock as well. So, as an immediate intervention kind of a measure from the people themselves, what do they need to do? A wet cloth, like in terms of a fire over the nose and mouth, will that help? Will that bring about some kind of relief? And also, will this have any long-term impact on humans, animals, and the environment, as we saw with the Bhopal gas tragedy?
Well, let me just give three questions. This answer in three steps. Number one, that immediately what people have to do is to save themselves from exposure. That is, close their windows and close their doors, as well as shut and put a curtain wherever possible so that their exposure becomes minimum. Because higher dose, longer exposure means great danger. So first thing is to prevent whatever means are available to you to safeguard yourself and prevent yourself from getting exposed. Now, this is one thing that needs to be done immediately. Second thing, those who get exposed, they need to be transported to the hospital immediately so that they can be rescued and the damage could be contained. And for that, a mask is a very essential thing. And second thing is that when you are transporting a person, at that time, it is very important that the fellow should be in proper condition so that his respiration is least affected. Sometimes I find that the patient is not able to stand and therefore he is almost half bent on the seat. Now, those kinds of things are dangerous at this point because that will only increase the damage to the body. So I think this is number two. And third, that let me again come back to this. Safety is important because this is something that is done when damage is there. I'm saying that we have to prevent such damages to occur. Sometimes we have got security which has a 3-tier security. Likewise, in industrial centers, we should have 3-tier safety measures. One of them is a passive measure, and that is a green belt around an industrial complex of this size. So that when the gas is leaked, then there is certain amount of resistance that is provided by trees in terms of its diffusion. And that provides the time for people to take care and to get alerted. Because all of a sudden these things happen and people are just not aware that what this like to be. And second thing is that it is important for the industry to announce in the area that here we are using this kind of chemical and all of you have to be alert if there is anything which you find other than normal. You have to take care of this. I don't think there is ever this kind of a drill is done there. So I think NDRF has also to include these kind of precautionary measures which need to be done, which are done when everything is safe and everything is fine and smooth. It is at that time that people living around need to be educated. And the third and the final thing is that whenever we have got the question of green belt, it has to be properly instituted because this is considered to be an extra expenditure, and normally neither implementation agency nor the industry itself takes it very seriously. Every time this is given as a condition, but it is all the time flouted. And therefore, it is time that all such chemical industry all along the country must be insisted upon to have a proper green belt around them, so that it is a passive safety measure to prevent. Let me also tell you, it has a long-term effect. For example, it is a carcinogenic, and sometimes leukemia and also the blood cancer is the effect that has been recorded at many places where acute exposures has been there. Also, it reduces the pregnancy, and spontaneous termination of the pregnancy is also there. And the chances of having a second pregnancy are greatly reduced. So I think these are the long-term effects. The lungs as well as liver gets affected, and which cannot be really fully recovered.
Okay, all right. Thank you for taking us through that, Professor. I think the line with Mr. Bhatnagar seems to be better at the moment. So let me quickly go across to him now. So, Mr. Bhatnagar, what is the next course of action really as far as the authorities on the ground are concerned?
Yeah, immediately, actually, there are three zones. One is red zone, another is orange zone, and third one is green zone from the 0 point. So, first of all, we should make the searching operation, which it is already going on in the red zone area, and to evacuate the persons who are affected. If is there, to me, I think it was already evacuated and rescued the people in orange zone and green zone also. And they have given the proper treatment on the spot. First aid was given and shifted to the hospital. So first foremost duty is there for the first aider to give the first aid, CPR, and because most of the people we are having the BA sets, and the ambulance also have the oxygen cylinder system. So immediately we should give supply, we should give the oxygen, and we should give the CPR to the people so that they can inhale the oxygen, because this gas already harmed the people, their kidney, their lungs, and they have stopped the supply line of the oxygen. So it is must. And this is the only action this time we can do, that we can save the life of the people. Saving the life of the people is must, foremost duty, and give shifted to the hospital immediately, which they are doing. As already Professor told that in the peace time we should give the training. Already we have given enough training to the villagers, because it is a disaster-prone area. This Vishakhapatnam. And continuous training, our team is there, continuous training to the even lower cadre also we are providing, and state government also giving, and Red Cross Society of India is giving. So people are well trained, but this type of disaster, people were not ready for that, and like Bhopal also. So they should not run. First of all, they should not run, because whenever you will start running, your this brain and BP and your this all these things will be affected, because the BP will increase. So definitely you will be fainted, vomiting will be there. So almost all the symptoms which we have already seen will occur definitely. So we should remain.
Don't panic. Don't panic is your message really, as far Mr. Bhatnagar is saying, as far as situations like this are concerned. The best thing to do is to be calm and then proceed and not to panic. All right.
And wet cloth you should put on the mouth. Wet cloth, not dry.
Okay, wet. Yes, wet cloth on the mouth as well. So that's a good way to deal with this, is what you're suggesting. All right. So, Mr. Raya, coming back to you now, I told you I'll be taking up a sixth dimension with you as well. So let's talk about that sixth dimension as well, because there are now calls for the unit to be shut completely and action to be taken against the Korean company's management as well. Will there be any international implications?
Well, I think we have a system of inquiry to fix responsibility, both at the industrial safety level as well as in this case there has already been a case of criminal negligence. So those investigations will have to be taken to logical conclusion before we can make any comment. But definitely we have our experience of 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy. We learned some very, very costly lessons, particularly in terms of legal battle, in terms of compensation for the victims. And finally, we also realized that, as Professor just mentioned, that these kind of incidents leave a long-term impact. And I think a larger issue is particularly how long we keep using chemicals in our lives and what is the threat that we face because of this use of chemicals, because it's a larger issue. Because it's easy to suggest to close down a plant. We just saw a copper plant was closed down in Tamil Nadu when India badly needs copper. So there are, pros and cons, and which will have to be dealt with in a very logical manner, in a very calm manner. And this is not the moment to go into about whether any action should be taken against this particular company. We have already seen messages from the South Korean ambassador to India. The company, the LG company, has also responded. I would expect that with South Korea having a lot of investment interest in India, definitely they will appreciate our safety norms and laws and will respond in a very, very responsible manner. But definitely the government of India and the government of Andhra Pradesh is not going to let any negligence go, unpunished or uncompensated.
Okay, all right. Time now to get closing comments from all my panelists with the best way forward. Starting first with you, Professor. We've seen quite a few gas tragedies in this country. How do we avoid them going forward, and also how do people keep safe?
I think, as far as I'm concerned, I will insist that a proper plant inspection must be very, very important and must be done even when there is a closure. Because some skeleton staff is always there and some technical staff along with the security staff is always present. And I think they need to really check these vital points of the factory and the areas where such toxic chemicals are kept in large quantities. That is number one, even when the factory is not running. And even if it is operation has disbanded, it is important that these things have to be kept under review constantly, because any laxity on this can create a very serious situation, which will soon become out of hand. And then you find that large casualties have taken place. Secondly, we have to monitor the health of the cattle. And I think a large number of veterinarians have to be really brought in to really take care of this kind of casualty that has taken place with respect to our cattle. So that is another thing, and for which we are not prepared and we do not have the wherewithal. So I think that is another lesson that we must learn. And third thing that we must learn is that long-term effect on trees have not been studied. And I think this presents an opportunity to study them. As far as my information goes, I had a talk with friends, as well as some reports are there, that the trees have changed their color because the quantities were so large and the concentration was so large that it has affected the trees as well. How this is going to really pan out in times to come is to be seen, because there are not many studies world over about the high concentration of styrene. But people know that this is a very toxic at high doses. And therefore, I suggest that implementation of green belt and a healthy and a proper green belt with proper selected species made absolutely mandatory for all chemical industries which are around. It is not possible to close every industry because it has got toxic chemicals or it is producing fumes. But what we have to do is that how we can really contain that and make them safe as far as possible, and the means are available. So cut short and saving small amounts here and there is only penny wise and pound foolish. So I think we have to really invest in it. And unless we invest in safety measures, you cannot really get safety from the kind of situations that we need to be safe.
Professor, since we are here, I have to ask you this question, and I want a quick reply from you because I'd like to get the other panelists in as well. In 30 seconds, would you say that the next 24 to 48 hours are extremely crucial? I know you said there is very little information and there is very little research on this particular gas, but would you say the next 48 hours are very crucial?
Yes. Next 3 days are going to be crucial, because those who will get exposed, the question is they have to be very carefully monitored, and they have to be ultimately it is going to break down, because after 3-4 days it is going to get completely very, very low in level. But that is going to be not so serious. And you also understand that it is close to the sea. So there is a lot of wind effect also, which will dilute it further. But at the same time, where the factory is located, there are small hillocks. So I think that is going to create some kind of a shadow as well. So I think these are the kind of thing where meteorology is going to play some part. So in some places, it may take little longer for the gas to dilute and to get neutralized. But in other places, it may be little faster. But the fact is that for next 3 days, it is going to linger. And one has to be very careful and remain inside to the extent possible and not get exposed.
All right. Mr. Bhatnagar, what's the best way forward?
Yeah, now is the best time to take the India. We should take care about it, and the government of India should issue the order and audit all these things and give the intensive training to the people working in such hazard area or chemical area, and the preventive measures should adopt, and strict action, legal action should be taken. Suppose in this case, we should take the action under IPC 304A and NDMA Act and Policy 2009. We should strict adhere upon it, and we should take into hard task to the owner of this factory, safety department, and the people doing the maintenance job and all these things. Otherwise, no fear will be there, and people will take it very easily. Aisa hota hai. No, nothing happened. The strict action should be there, and they should put behind the bar, and they should not have any scope of any hanky-panky business. Strict action. This is the time.
Okay, this is the time for strict action, and accountability should be fixed, is what Mr. Bhatnagar is suggesting. All right, Mr. Iyer, close the show for us with your concluding remarks.
Well, I entirely agree with other panelists that there has to be strict action for whatever negligence that have been there in the running of this plant and maintenance of the plant. But we must also remember that this is a moment when, there is a variety of emotions sweeping us. There is anger, there is pain and sadness that so many lives have been lost. But we have to remember and go back to the lessons of the Bhopal gas tragedy. We need to understand that. And let us also remember that Visakhapatnam or Vizag is a huge industrial city. There are several industrial plants there. There are several ancillary industries. So I think it is immediately the state government should order a complete audit of all the plants, all the facilities that are functioning there. So that we do not wait for an accident to happen and we can take precautionary measures. Prevention is always better than a cure. In this case, actually it is life-saving.
Absolutely. Prevention is always better than cure. And in this particular circumstance and dealing with such industries and factories and chemicals, it is more important than anything else, is what the panelists are suggesting. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of The Big Picture. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on the program and putting things into perspective for us. That's it from me. See you again next time.